I would hope that we get away from this. I do have respect for Secretary Clinton. I don't know who in her campaign comes up with these brilliant ideas. But all that I'm saying is I am not going to go into New York. I know that they are getting nervous. They've lost 7 out of the last 8 caucuses and primaries, and I know every day they develop a new approach to the campaign. I gather their approach is again, this is a quote from CNN. Quote, disqualify him, defeat him, and unify the party later. That sounds to me like they're ready to run a very negative campaign. That is not what I want to do.
Words that have opened up yet another sensitive wound in the battle between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders about being qualified to be president of the United States, leaving plenty of critics to wonder what would make Bernie Sanders more qualified than Mrs. Clinton. And if we're talking about being qualified, is it possible the GOP is already deep into planning for 2020, knowing no one is really at that level for 2016? Question everything. Don't fear the answers. Join us. Open the doors to the Friday Eve version of the Political Animal. From the left, veteran political analyst and CEO of Bannon Communications, Brad Bannon. From the right, political editor from the Washington Examiner and author of Devouring Freedom, W. James Antle III. Gentlemen, thanks so much for being here. Brad, I'm going to begin with you on this one. Hey, Brad, what happened to the Democrats here? For months, we've heard about everything is nice and calm, and we're actually the sensible party, if you will. I feel like it's a Monty Python bit. But now we have Bernie Sanders is angry, Hillary Clinton is angry. We are having some really angry words being thrown back and forth here, including that Mrs. Clinton's not qualified to be president. Brad, you're just as angry as the right. Come on, admit it.
No, I don't think anybody can be as angry as Donald Trump and Ted Cruz. And for the record, I watched the Hillary Clinton's interview, the whole thing, and she never said he was disqualified.
No. Bernie Sanders was the one questioning whether or not Hillary Clinton is qualified to be president. That's a shot.
Well, that's his right. But, I still think we're doing a hell of a lot better than the Republicans. No one on the Democratic side, for instance, Hillary Clinton has not criticized the looks of Jane Sanders. So we're one up on that one.
Would you admit that that's kind of an interesting way to put it, if you will? All right, Jim, I'm going to come to you on this one. Look, we've got the Democrats now getting a little bit angrier, Hillary Clinton having all kinds of problems here, and now we have Bernie Sanders, who always said he was going to be the quiet guy, he was going to do it above board. Now he's taking shots. Would you say that the Democrats are just as frustrated as the right in so many ways?
Yeah, and it's a really weird dynamic because Bernie Sanders wouldn't take any of these kinds of shots before Iowa when he really had a chance potentially to beat her in the caucuses, and then he would have beaten her in the first 2 out of 3 states. And now that she has this pretty much insurmountable delegate lead, he's all of a sudden saying she's not qualified and really going after parts of her record that are not popular with a large part of the Democratic base. The Wall Street connections, the Goldman Sachs speeches, her vote for the Iraq War. So now that Sanders is really probably not in a position to beat her, or at least easily beat her, given the proportional delegate allocation that the Democrats have in the upcoming states, he's really going after her and getting a lot of his base riled up. So it should be interesting to see how that plays out as the Democratic convention approaches.
And here's something else, Brad. Jeff Weaver is the campaign manager for Bernie Sanders. He now has taken a page from people on the right's book, and he said that Hillary Clinton is basically responsible for ISIS. He said she continues to have a very, very hawkish foreign policy, which led to the rise and expansion of ISIS throughout the Middle East. Come on, Brad, admit it, using the same tricks.
Weaver is wrong. The fathers of ISIS are George W. Bush and Dick Cheney. When they destabilized Iraq, they created a vacuum.
But then why is he throwing that in there, though, Brad? Why does he throw that in there, then, if he knows, if that's the way that the left thinks, why is he throwing that out there?
I think they're getting desperate. They're still 700 delegates behind.
But so you go. There you go. It's part of this desperation here, all right, that we're talking about, and the Dems are starting to show it. Okay, here's something else I want to throw into the conversation here. Bill Clinton on the stump for Hillary in Philadelphia today, interrupted by Black Lives Matter protesters. Some are critical of the '94 crime bill President Clinton signed into law, brought about tougher sentencing for violent crimes. Bill says he likes to interact with protesters, so he responded to allegations Black lives don't matter to Hillary Clinton. Here's what he said.
I don't know how you would characterize the gang leaders who got 13-year-old kids hopped up on crack and sent them out onto the street to murder other African-American children. Maybe you thought they were good citizens. She didn't. She didn't. You are defending the people who kill the lives you say matter. Tell the truth.
Hey, Jim, I got about 30 seconds here. It looks almost and sounds almost to a lot of people as if Hillary Clinton and Bill, by proxy, are worried about losing that all-important black vote this year.
Well, it sort of connects to the whole idea of Bernie Sanders challenging her. All this triangulation and the Sister Souljah moments, those were big things in the 90s when Democrats were reacting to Republican successes of the Reagan years, but that's not really where Democrats are today, and it's really something that hurt her in 2008, and it's hurting them now.
Quick shot to you then, 20 seconds. Is Ted Cruz, I want to move to the right very quickly here, wasting his time in New York right now, Jim, trying to get votes?
I think momentum is really what he's looking for, so he wants to be able to hold Donald Trump below 50% and try to get some congressional districts. Probably won't work out to his benefit, should maybe focus on Indiana, Pennsylvania, and elsewhere instead.
20 seconds to you, Brad. What do you think?
I think Ted Cruz is better off campaigning in other states. That crack he made about New York values in Iowa does not play very well in the Big Apple.
Well, we do know what you think about New York values because if we look over your right shoulder, you have a Red Sox jersey there. So that immediately tells us right now. So we may have to take you off the board on this one.
Yeah, I can understand that.
It's all right. As a native New Yorker, I can say that. Brad Bannon, Jim Antle, gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Hey, welcome to the presidential election cycle and something else to worry about. You are at risk of being scammed by the real pros. And you may have even been taken several times by scams you haven't been warned about. And it's all about who you want to see in the White House in 2017. That's coming up next, right here on The Hardline.